the number 2.tv.
Now you can get Talk 1470 WNN on 95.3 FM too. Loud and clear, Health and Wealth Radio, WNN.
The opinions expressed on the following sponsored program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors.
Good evening, everyone. Hello out there.
Welcome to the weekend. I'm Gerald.
And I'm Lori.
And we are the Healthy Credit Gals. Our goal is to educate you on credit and financial matters. Join us on this journey to increase your awareness of credit and health and how they impact your life.
If you've ever experienced financial stress, and most of us have at some point, then you know how unsettling it can be. There are many ways to actively take control of the situation, restore your credit score, and rebuild your purchasing power.
If you have a question and want to join the show, call in at 888-565-1470 and let us guide you in creating financial fitness and peace of mind.
Hey everybody, welcome to our Friday show that we love to get with you every week and have you participate. So we are the Healthy Credit Gals. I'm Lori.
And I'm Gerald, and so happy to be here another Friday. I think it's our last Friday in January. So 2018 is proving to be whizzing by. And are you doing everything you want to be doing for this year? You know, you blink and it may be over. So let's start putting action to our thoughts,
yes,
right?
I think, honestly, time does go by so fast that if you're not in motion and having a plan and acting out your plan, then it's still not too late. It's only the end of January, but, you know, there's 11 more months to go, and then we'll be doing this all over again, entering 2019. So if you have some goals and you want to get those into action, one of the best places to start is your credit. It impacts so many different aspects of your life. If you're wanting to save money, raise your credit score. If you're looking to buy a house, raise your credit score, right? If you're looking to buy a car, save money on all of your utilities,
right,
and so many other things. If you want to have a better chance at getting another job, a lot of employers are pulling credit. So your credit is really very important place to start, and I feel like it impacts so many different aspects of your life that's a good focus to start with.
Absolutely. So, I mean, if you're one of those people that woke up thinking, how did I get here? You know, it's really important to take a look at how you got where you are, whether it's in the positive direction or your life is swirling downhill. Stop and figure it out, because every action you have taken up to this point has led you right to where you are. You can point fingers at everything else that's going on, but ultimately it is your responsibility. And one of the best ways to take responsibility for your life is to take a look at your financial bottom line and start to make those 1 degree of changes. We've been talking about that a lot. 1 degree of change can start you on a very positive path.
Yes, it's not something that once you've made a mistake, it sticks with you for life. It's something that you can change so easily. And today we are welcoming back our lovely guest, Tanya Quaracquios, the owner of Celebrity Mortgage. She's going to be sharing so much great information for getting ready for tax season, as well as getting ready to purchase that house and what's changed in our state and in the rules, right? What they're looking for.
Right. There's a lot going on. Starting January 1st, the new conforming loan limit is up $28,000 from $424,100 to $453,100, which does a lot of really good for the median size home. It gives the client a lot more purchasing power.
So tell us what that means.
What does that?
We're both going, that's language we don't understand.
So usually when a client was buying a home, if the loan amount was $424,100 or less, they were considered a conforming loan.
Okay.
Now that number is $453,100. So what that means is you can buy a lot more home, still put, say, 10% down, and you're in a conforming loan limit, which has much more flexible guidelines for lending as opposed to a jumbo loan, which is a loan amount that's now higher than $453,101.
So that amount is the one that dictates. Above it is jumbo and conforming is below
it.
I got you.
And that's for Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac loans only. In the state of Florida, FHA's loan limits remain the same. So because there was some movement with those as well. But this is it's a great indicator for those people who own homes, because it shows that the median home price has gone up, which means values have gone up. Likewise, it can also be a negative because the median house price has gone up.
Right.
So that leads me back to the credit. I tell people all roads start with credit when you're looking at a mortgage. And so it's very, very important to have the most healthy credit score that you can possibly have, because that's the starting point to get you into owning a home.
So that actually helps people qualify or figure out what they qualify for, what their options are, correct?
That's correct. And it's all good stuff. I mean, it's good for both sides, those that own, those that want to own. But it really is something that everybody should be aware of. And again, all roads start with the credit score. Having said that, it is the end of January, which means April 15th is quickly approaching for taxes. And so for our listeners who have bought or refinanced or sold real estate this last year, you need to make sure you have two very important documents with you when you turn in your taxes. For a buyer or a refinance, you need to have your closing disclosure, your CD. It's the 5-page document that you got when you closed your loan, and it outlines all of your expenses. For a seller, you would have what's called an ALTA statement. And that's a 3-page document which shows your fees. Actually, it shows both the buyer and the seller's fees. It's a combined statement. But this is very important so that you get all of the tax deductions that you're entitled to for the expenses of your purchase, refinance, or sale of real property. And the only thing that you may want to notice that might not be on that statement is if you bought a home or did an inspection of any kind, that initial home inspection invoice may not be on the closing statement, or the closing disclosure or the ALTA statement.
Now, are these documents coming via mail?
No. These documents should be in the closing package that you received when you closed your loan. There are some companies that will give you a USB, and they're all on that in a PDF file, but most are still giving you a closing package. If you do not have this closing disclosure, we did this for many of our clients at the beginning of the year. We just checked in with them to make sure that they had the CDs or the ALTA statements, and if they didn't, we emailed them to them. But if you don't have those documents, or you can't find your closing documents, please call your mortgage company, your mortgage broker company, or your title company, because both of those entities would have a complete, or should have a complete copy of your entire loan package, which will contain these documents.
Wow, really great knowledge. Thank you for sharing
You're
that.
very welcome. It's important for everybody.
Absolutely.
Like I said, all good stuff has happened this year in the mortgage industry. I mean, I know the rates have gone up a little bit, but that's sort of something that's happened and should have happened, for a long time. We've had very low rates, but there's a lot of good stuff happening in the mortgage and real estate industry, and I'm excited to start the year off and share the information.
So is this an indicator that we are going to have a lot more people looking to get into purchasing versus renting? I know that we've had a lot of people renting because such an unstable market and not knowing when they were going to be recovered enough from the housing crash.
Well, it's a very healthy rental market still, because the price point, say $150 to $350, is a very competitive price point. Again, goes back to you got to have good credit, you got to have the right kind of pre-approvals so that when you are out there looking, you look strong to a seller. But it depends. Not everybody can be a homeowner. There is a place for renters in the market, but so much of what you pay in rent is also predicated on your credit score. Every landlord that I know will pull your credit before they'll allow you to rent to them, because it's an indicator of what, how you've managed yourself. So again, the market is very strong. That price point from, say, $150 to $350 is super competitive. Being prepared with your proper pre-approval from your mortgage company, your credit scores, your assets, and so forth, that's gonna be your entree to even have that discussion. Can I become a homeowner, or should I stay a renter for another year?
Gotcha.
So we're throwing a lot of information out there at you. If you have any questions, please feel free to call in. Our number here is 888-565-1470, and we'll be happy to answer any questions that you have regarding mortgages, tax information that we've been sharing, or credit information, how you can start looking at your credit.
And if you're thinking of buying a home and you have a question for Tanya, we'd love to hear from you. So give us a call, 888-565-1470, and let's hear what's on your mind.
Yeah, I think that, I have a lot of clients that are looking to purchase this year. And a lot of them, I try to encourage them to get started in January, because sometimes it might take longer depending on what you have on your credit. It doesn't always come with a time frame that we can say, okay, within 3 months, within 6 months, you should be good to go. Right. It really depends on what exactly is on your credit. What's bringing your score down? Some people have a few items, and maybe just those few items are more difficult to get off because they're more recent. Or, there might be things on there from 10 years ago with so many people having foreclosures and short sales. A lot of that, they think it's going to just fall off, and it doesn't fall off. So it really is very important to plan. And I think the first thing that they should do, and I've been telling my clients this, we can go ahead and start your credit repair process, but you need to really get the knowledge of somebody that's going to lead you through the whole mortgage process.
For sure.
So that would be something that Tanya can help you with.
Right. So do you know what's on your credit? And are you curious? Because go ahead and pull it. You're entitled to your free report once a year.
It's annualcreditreport.com is where you can go.
It's good to know. Listen, knowledge is power, and once you understand what you're up against, then you can systematically deal with what you need to deal with. It's just really a powerful tool to have in your toolbox.
And it gives you your starting point.
Right.
Honestly, you don't know. A lot of people think that they're in a better position than they are.
Right.
And sometimes people are very surprised at what's on their credit reports.
Right. And using more than 30% is, that's something you can take care of yourself. Stop using more than 30%. And
explain that to people. If they're hearing that for the first time, what does that mean?
It goes against you. You're entitled to use up to 30% of the total amount of credit that you have. Otherwise, it goes on your every month. Even if you pay off every penny that you use on a monthly basis, if you are using all of your credit and you pay it off, it's a derogatory, and your credit will systematically go down on a monthly basis.
Right. So you can take a look at what your limits are and make sure that you're calculating what 30% of that is.
Right. So if you have a $1,000 limit, stay within that $300 mode. If you have $10,000 limit, $3,000. So if you need more credit, it's a good way to know to apply for more credit, just because you're using more than the 30%, not to use the entire amount. And that's a good way to solve it.
It's a great lesson, because so many people don't know that. It's very shocking when people hear that for the first time and don't really understand what it is. But little things can make a big impact on your score.
Absolutely. One of the things we do at Celebrity Mortgage, when we have a client and we pull their credit and their credit score is not what they anticipated, and this happens a lot because they'll get something from, say, Credit Karma or whatever, not disparaging anybody, but the scores that I pull can be vastly different than what you see on your own soft credit pull, but it is important to have that soft credit pull as a starting point. Having said that, we can do what's called a credit simulator, and we show them if you pay your loan, the credit balance down to less than 30% of the high balance, it makes a huge impact in the credit score. And again, also makes a huge impact in the interest rate they'll get in a loan. So we do that for our clients to show them this is what your credit looks like. This is what your credit can look like. We can also do that with derogatories and collections. If you pay these off, if you're not managing them properly, what does it look like? And that's a service that we provide, and it's absolutely free. So it's important to know all aspects of the credit, and someone at Celebrity Mortgage is happy to go through that with you too. And if you do need credit counseling, if you do need somebody to help you take the extra step, obviously we know who to refer them to.
Right. We have a whole slew of people that we work with. It's not always the best thing just to do credit repair.
Sure.
If you're in a situation that you have everything maxed out, you might need to file bankruptcy, and that is sometimes the best option to wipe the slate clean and have a good starting point again. But you don't want to make that decision without having a professional that is going to guide you through that. So, there are a lot of people that you can reach out to, and I think finding the right people that will hold your hand is so important when you're dealing with something that you might not understand.
Right.
And let's face it, we're not taught about credit. We're not taught about purchasing a home.
We're not taught about a lot of
anything
things.
with finances
In high school,
in
there's no
our
finances,
schools.
right.
We just don't teach it. So that's one thing that our company is extremely passionate about is financial education services is all about the education piece and helping educate our youth so that they make better decisions and at least making a difference, because I think our generation, we did not get that in our education.
And they're still not doing it. I mean, you have kids that graduate high school and have no idea how to balance a checkbook or even
Right.
know what a check is because they do everything online.
Right.
So they don't understand that there's still that checks and balances.
and
Right.
it's all like with Venmo and just the electronic transfers, it's even harder to keep track of, okay, I'll just Venmo you. So with that said, we are going to take a break and we will be right back.
Stay with us.
Celebrity Mortgage Corporation, where everyone is treated like a star. The process of obtaining a mortgage to purchase or refinance residential property doesn't have to be overwhelming. I'm Tanya Quarequio, the owner of Celebrity Mortgage and a licensed loan officer. Celebrity Mortgage has helped thousands of clients in Florida realize their dream of homeownership, and we can help you too. We know every family and individual is unique in their needs and requirements. As a mortgage brokerage business, we have access to hundreds of loan programs and thousands of lenders. We will help find the right program that works for you. Tanya Quarequio, NMLS 88836, Celebrity Mortgage, NMLS 206978, where everyone is treated like a star.
Did you know that having less than perfect credit can cost you upwards of $1 million in interest rates, fees, and other unnecessary charges over your lifetime? And did you know 80% of credit reports have errors causing lower credit scores? And did you know 43 million people have a credit score of 599 or less?
Less than perfect credit leaves you with little or no control. The Healthy Credit Gals can help. We are the Healthy Credit Gals. Let us show you how to create financial fitness and peace of mind. Tune in and let's talk credit on 1470 AM and 95.3 FM.
You've been listening to the Healthy Credit Gals inform you of how important good credit is and the stressful impact bad credit can have on your overall well-being. Visit our website at thehealthycreditgals.com and learn what options you have. Now, let's get back to the show.
Hi, everyone. We're back. And so we're talking about credit and mortgages and how it's all affecting your bottom line. And right here in South Florida, it looks like we are in a tremendous building boom. I mean, there are cranes everywhere you look. So, that's an exciting thing with all this building. I mean, the construction and the architectural and the mortgage industry and the real estate industry are all probably doing significantly well. And how do you fit into this picture? So I guess the question is, can you afford that house that you are looking at, no matter what happens down the road? Or how do you project that? Because as we know, nothing lasts forever.
Right.
And that was a big problem. Honestly, there were so many people when the housing market crashed that really couldn't afford what they had taken on, right?
Well, yeah, and I always get this question, Tanya, what's going to happen in the market? Do you think there's going to be another housing bubble? And the answer is, I'm sure there will be. But when I advise a client about purchasing a home, no matter the size, if it's a small home, a big home, whatever, the question is, can you afford that home today? And are you prepared? Do you have savings? Do you have leftover cash? Are you capable of making 6 months worth of mortgage payments if something happened to your job, if there was an adjustment in the market? And for me, trying to catch the housing bubble or knowing when to buy or when to not, I mean, it's great if you have the ability to do that. I don't think anybody does, because if you did, you'd have nobody in this industry. We'd all be looking for that crystal ball. But can you afford it today? Can we look at your financials? Does it make sense for you? Is it too much house for you? I often use the expression, the shine of the granite and the gleam of the marble start to dull very quickly when you're house poor, because vacation is something that we need. off time is something that we need. So don't don't overspend. I try to strongly encourage that with people. And it is much more difficult in the millennial age of buyers that they like, instant gratification. I'm sorry, but it's true. Instant gratification, they want everything now as opposed to a little now, a little later, and we build up to it. So I try to do a reality check. And sometimes, they don't like what I have to say. But I feel that it's my duty and ethics and otherwise to do that. And so we look at what you can afford, what's reasonable, and help you get into the housing market that way.
Wait, I just want to, so you're finding the millennials are wanting more than they could afford?
Yes, instant gratification. I want to pay this amount of money, and I want everything. I want everything to be done, and it just doesn't work that way. There's a product called a 203K loan, and it's a great product, especially for a first-time home buyer, especially for a millennial who, for example, wants to live in a neighborhood that's established and is in a price point per average that they can't afford, but they can't buy a smaller home. There's 3 lessons in real estate: location, location, location.
Right.
So you buy where you can, you buy the best house in the best neighborhood that you can, and it may be a fixer-upper. And a 203K loan is an awesome product for a first-time home buyer who wants to live in an area that is out of reach, but maybe not out of reach if you're buying a house that needs some TLC.
Good to know.
That's really good education.
Yeah.
I think there are a lot of people still that are renting and they feel like, gosh, if I'm paying $1,500 a month, that could be a mortgage.
For sure, that's a mortgage
But they
payment.
might not qualify. They might not have the credit. They might not have the money saved up for a 10% down deposit, whatever. Is there still, is that still what's recommended to have, is the 10% down? How has that changed?
Well, for the longest time, the first-time homebuyer program was FHA, where the minimum investment was 3.5%, and that still remains. That's a great product for first-time homebuyers. The downside to an FHA loan is that for the life of the loan, whether you owe $1 or you owe $100,000, you will always have mortgage insurance. However, again, it's a product, it's a tool that is excellent for many buyers. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac said, hang on, we want to get in that game too, and they have a product where you can put 3% down, 5% down, or anywhere in between. The most optimal loans are when you're able to put 20% down because you don't have mortgage insurance. But there are products, like I said, with Fannie and Freddie Mac, 3 to 5% down. There are some other things that go along with that. There's some restrictions on debt-to-income ratio and so forth. But that's the beauty of working with a mortgage broker like Celebrity Mortgage, like myself, because we are not trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. We are looking at your financials. We are looking at what you can afford, and we are trying to place you in a loan program that makes sense, both short-term and long-term, and that you can afford both short-term and long-term.
So are you looking for a house? Do you have questions for Tanya? Give us a call at 888-565-1470. Let us know what you're thinking, what's going on in your world. Can you find that house? What's the housing like? It's pretty tight, isn't it?
There is. We have a little bit lower inventory, and as I said before, that price point from say $150 to $300 is very difficult. It's very competitive. You really have to, have all your ducks in a row. You've got to have a realtor who knows how to negotiate for you. You've got to have a proper pre-approval many times with a Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac DU or LP approval. Sellers want to see your credit score. Sellers want to see your assets. They want to know that when they take their property off the market and give you a shot at buying it, that they're not wasting their time.
Good point.
Yeah,
that's
for
really
sure.
Good point.
It's critical. It's critical. A well-educated realtor will represent their client in a listing and look for all those tools. But there is product out there. There's over 11,000 condominiums being built in Miami. Some say that's overkill. Some say it's not, because South Florida is a destination place to live. Many people retire here. Many people migrate here from other countries and want to. We are an all-around. We are a year-round society here in South Florida. You can do anything every month of the year. And
a lot of people have second and third homes here.
Absolutely.
That they might not be their primary residence, but they definitely spend some of their time here.
Sure. So, the inventory is it is tight for especially single-family homes in the $150 to $350 price point. But they're out there, and again, being prepared when an opportunity presents itself is the most important thing when you're trying to buy property.
So that means being as liquid as possible.
It means having great credit. It means having liquidity. It means having assets. It means having an employment that's good, that's another thing. You know, they're looking at everything now. You know, how long have you been at your job? Do you have a job that has upward mobility and upward movement? And sellers are looking at that when you give a pre-approval letter. And certainly the loan program, the underwriters are looking for that. Where are you at in your career? And are you jumping around? Are you moving up in income? Do you have the opportunity to move up in income? If a doctor, for example, can get in a home with 0% down because they're in an upward mobility career.
Right.
And how does entrepreneurship, where you're a 1099 and kind of supporting your own destination, is that like becoming in bigger play as opposed to a W-2, or looked at as more secure today's market?
Or less secure because
right.
it's your own
Right. It's your own company.
That's
so
how I viewed it all the time.
Well, that's what it is. When you're a 1099, you're a corporation in and into yourself. How you present it, whether it's an S Corp or a C Corp or just a Schedule C 1099 is a whole nother story. But when you are self-employed, you must have 2 years tax returns in order to be able to use that income and have it averaged over 2 years.
Okay.
Which leads me to this time of year is a very good time of year for both W-2 and self-employed people to really look at what their last year's tax return was, 2016, and how they're going to file 2017. And a lot of people have the misnomer that, well, I'm a W-2. What's good for the IRS is not so good for the lending side. So you may have a W-2 employee for a firefighter, for example, and they may write off, $20,000 of their $80,000 income for uniforms or mileage or car usage or whatever. From a lending perspective, that $80,000 is now a $60,000 salary because they disallow that. The way to get around that particular scenario is to do a W-2 only program. But again, that's working with the right mortgage broker who can look at your profile, really analyze it, and see what do I have that makes this work for the client.
I think another piece of that team that we talk about too is making sure you have a good tax accountant that they can guide you in just exactly what you were referring to, what you can write off and the pluses of whether you are a W-2 or a 1099 or you're your own entity, what is the best situation for what you're looking to do. So if you're looking to purchase a house and you need that guidance from your whole team of people, I would say the first step is not going out and looking for a house that you want to buy. It's definitely getting all of these things in order so that then you can proceed once you have all your ducks in a row.
That's absolutely the way to approach it. I got a phone call this week from a client, and we were discussing what he wanted to do and what his budget was and so forth. And I said to him, have you looked at anything? And he said, no, Tanya, I haven't looked at anything. I actually came to you first. And I'm like, you're the star client of the year. I know it's early, but that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to come to me first and not go look at property and not look at something that maybe you can't afford or ultimately you don't want to afford. People think that, oh, this is so beautiful and I want this house, but when you see what it actually costs, has a different point of view. So going and being prepared and starting, where we are is what you want to do when you're looking for a home.
Very good. That's great information. And the fact of like a lot of my as many of you know, I'm in the insurance world and the 1099s. I can do amazing things for my 1099 clients who can write off a lot. But when you go to buy a house, you can't necessarily show that tax return where you've written off a lot. So you you do want to play the balance of where you need to be, right? Because it's important. I mean, so yeah, there's pros and cons. There's for every action, there's a opposing and
a reaction.
It's definitely something that you want to look at what you're trying to do, what your goal is, and work with who can help you reach that goal in the best way.
And the ramification, I mean, the pros and the cons and the ramifications, and just having a full understanding of the holistic view for your entire life. I mean, it's not just piecemealing it. So yeah, having a whole group of professionals that guide you in all aspects, from the mortgage broker and the insurance agent and the tax attorney and the accountant and the estate planning aspect of it. I mean, it's just getting your entire life in order.
It is. And then you don't have to worry about everything else. If you really have, your people, your team of people that you feel confident in and that you trust what they're guiding you to do. That's a big part of it too. There are so many realtors, there are so many just different professionals here, but I would say the real estate market is just flooded with realtors. And you want to make sure if a relationship doesn't work for you and you don't have a good feeling about it, listen to your gut and get another opinion. I say that about anything with medical decisions. You want to always trust your gut that person, that professional that you are working with, you have a good feeling, good relationship, and trust in what they're guiding you to do.
Right. Just FYI, the three of us have amazing sources of people. So if you need a reference on almost anybody out there, give us a call. We're good.
Absolutely.
All right. So we're going to take another break, and we'll be back to talk more. Stay with us.
Celebrity Mortgage Corporation, where everyone is treated like a star. The process of obtaining a mortgage to purchase or refinance residential property doesn't have to be overwhelming. I'm Tanya Quarequio, the owner of Celebrity Mortgage and a licensed loan officer. Celebrity Mortgage has helped thousands of clients in Florida realize their dream of homeownership, and we can help you too. We know every family and individual is unique in their needs and requirements. As a mortgage brokerage business, we have access to hundreds of loan programs and thousands of lenders. We will help find the right program that works for you. Tanya Quarequio, NMLS 88836, Celebrity Mortgage, NMLS 206978, where everyone is treated like a star.
Did you know most people have no idea how their credit score works and no idea what their credit score is? Most people think just paying bills on time will ensure the best score possible. The reality is 5 factors determine your credit rating: types of credit, length of credit, amount owed, inquiries, and payment history.
Did you know an employer can use your credit scores and history to determine whether they want to hire you? Your credit scores determine the premiums you pay for insurance on your car and homeowners insurance, as well as other premiums. Your credit score also determines the interest rates for your mortgage and car loans. Even your utilities and cell phone is based on your credit score. Crazy, right? Low credit scores is like flushing money down the drain.
We can put money back in your pocket. Tune in and let's talk credit. We are the Healthy Credit Gals. Let us show you how to create financial fitness and peace of mind.
You've been listening to the Healthy Credit Gals inform you of how important good credit is and the stressful impact bad credit can have on your overall well-being. Visit our website at thehealthycreditgals.com and learn what options you have. Now, let's get back to the show.
Hi everyone, we're back and we're here with Tanya Q, Celebrity Mortgage, and we're talking about maybe the best way to go about getting that loan. And if you're a 1099, there are some different approaches. So I'll turn it over to you, Tanya.
Right. So being a 1099 or a self-employed borrower, I always say you're not smart if you're not writing off every paperclip. But that's also, again, the double-edged sword that I talked about before, because, again, what's good for the IRS is not so good for lending. So finally, no income verified asset or stated income verified asset has come back into play for some qualified buyers. And what that does is allows you to still get a loan. The rates are higher than what you see on a billboard or when you Google rates, mortgage rates, but the opportunity is you can still buy a home with a no income verified asset or a stated income verified asset loan. And it may be more advantageous to pay a higher interest rate. So for now, the mortgage interest is still deductible, at least for most homes in South Florida. And it may be more advantageous to have a higher rate as opposed to having to not write off everything, every little paperclip, and pay the IRS.
Right.
So you really, that's, again, the team that you have in place has to work for you, and they all have to know what your goals are, and does this make sense? I work with many, many accountants where, we go through this mental math together. I run the numbers for them. I show them what it looks like, and then they present that to the client and say, here's what you're going to pay the IRS, or if we don't do that this year, this is what you're going to, you can file your tax returns with all of your income and none of your write-offs, or no write-offs or minimal write-offs, and, you kind of look and you do that balance. It's not cheating. It's making an educated decision of what your expenses are and what you absolutely have to write off and need to write off.
And what works best for you. You
Right.
know, I think it's very individualized based on what your goal is.
Every tax return is individualized, I would say, like an accountant would say. And again, that's the team approach, and that's what we do at Celebrity Mortgage. We don't think that we're all encompassing. We certainly know that we have a vast ocean of knowledge that's useful to every client, but we don't think we're all encompassing. We work with, from probate attorneys to tax accountants to, credit repair specialists. It's a team approach, and if it's done that way, I think it's the best approach for every client.
At least you're getting all the options, right?
For sure.
Now, when you say this non-verification, are we talking 1 year of tax returns or 2 years of tax returns that possibly could be in play on what they would be paying in?
Well, when it's a no-income verification of assets, there's no income documentation.
Right, but versus...
Okay, so there's two schools of thought. If it's FHA or Fannie Mae, you must provide 2 years of tax returns, all statements, and so forth, complete tax returns. Freddie Mac has a program which is really nice for the long-term self-employed borrower, where if you're self-employed for more than 5 years, and we can prove it, we have to have a license or something that we can show, a website or something, they have a program that you can only show your most recent tax return, so only 1 year of tax return.
Okay.
And that's very helpful for many clients who maybe in the past have, had leaner years or maybe wrote off a bunch of things. You can show 1 year that's very healthy, and you can qualify based on that number. It's also important to know how to read the tax return, though, and I talk about this a lot when I do presentations or when I'm in meetings and meeting with clients. You need to know, as a broker, I need to know how to interpret a tax return. Many things that are written off for tax purposes may be, a one-time expenditure for equipment, for example. That's not something that's reoccurring, and that can be added back in as, part of business income or help the bottom line on a business. So it's super important that it's not just a mortgage broker. It's not just a person that can quote, mortgage loans or mortgage programs or rates for you, but they really need to have a strong understanding of what underwriting is looking at and doing an analysis for in the tax return to be able to maximize your dollars, and likewise, not overpay, not put too much money on the books, if you will.
Right. Yeah. Again, that balance, right? Always
Exactly.
looking for that balance. So I have a question, since while you were describing all of that great information, my thought went to lenders, lenders that are looking at investment people that are looking at getting multiple mortgages. How does that play into it? So if this is not a primary residence, say this is an investment property or it's a secondary residence for somebody out of state, does a lot of what you do have to change based on what they would qualify for, what mortgages they would qualify for?
Absolutely. So if you're purchasing a second home, and it's truly a second home, and that's something that, when you sit down with your mortgage professional, you really have to look. There's distance requirements, the type of property requirements. So if it's a second home, it works very much like when you're buying a primary residence. The rates are the same, and it's a more less layered loan. If you're buying investment property, very different scenario. It depends on the type of property it is. Can you use a percentage of a rent for that property that can be proven through an appraisal or rent schedule? It's called a 1007 rent schedule. Can you use part of that to help you qualify? The answer is yes. Again, it depends on the property and so forth. They do not accept, some of them will accept a lease if it's a portfolio loan, but in general, when you do an appraisal, you order the rent schedule. So it's very different underwriting requirements for a primary purchase closely to a second home, very different for investment property. Different things are looked at, different things are allowed. So it's very important to work with somebody who understands those unique differences and what's allowed and what's not.
And that's something you can help people with as well.
Absolutely. It's something we help people with every single week.
And do most mortgage brokers, are they familiar with the differences, or is that something that uniquely you have to be qualified to do?
Well, I'd like to think that we're unique in that we do it better than anybody else.
Right.
And I feel pretty confident we do at least as good as anybody else.
Right.
We do it better than most. A lot of mortgage professionals don't get that in depth to it. They're very familiar to quote rates and quote loan programs, and they may know big picture things. But when you're getting into the idiosyncrasies of things and the intricacies of a tax return, you really have to interview is what I tell people. I don't mind being interviewed. I always often say that my competition is my best advertisement, because if I have a conversation with a client and we're able to really get into the meat and potatoes of their unique situation, they'll understand that I have a very in-depth knowledge of what's supposed to happen in a loan and how loans are underwritten and what's counted against them and what's counted for them.
Once again, you're hearing it right here, just the difference, I think, in what you need to be looking for in a mortgage broker, somebody that's knowledgeable in all aspects of mortgages, so she can be familiar in guiding you with whatever your unique situation is.
And oftentimes we do a plan. I tell people when we're buying a home or when we're refinancing a property, what's the 5-year plan? And many times we have first-time home buyers that'll get into condos or townhouses, and we will structure loans knowing that this is going to be an investment property in 5 years. So we're going to work everything with a 5-year out rule, because I don't take clients in and say, thank you very much, this is one transaction. My clients become my friends. Many of them are very dear friends to me, and all of them are return clients. We've never had a client that, thank you God, that walked away.
That's good.
But yeah, it's a process, and it's a team approach, and having as much information about the client and what their big picture plan is helps us help them.
No, that's so special, and I think that really does set you apart, like worlds apart from your competition. And
I think everybody can hear that just in the knowledge that you've shared, even just in this show. But Tanya has been on multiple times, and there's just never enough time to go through all of the different aspects of what you can handle. So I just wanted to make sure we're pointing out to people that you want to, if you're not calling Tanya, which you should be doing.
So wait, if they wanted to call you, throw your number out there.
If you wanted to call, our corporate office number is 954-527-0253. And if you need me now, in about 30 minutes, I'll be available. You can call me on my cell phone at 954-394-6464. Again, my cell phone number is 954-394-6464, and I am available to my clients almost all the time. If I don't answer your call, it will be returned timely.
Or call us now at 888-565-1470. Ask away. Ask away.
So we're going to go ahead and take one more break, and we'll be back to wrap everything up.
Celebrity Mortgage Corporation, where everyone is treated like a star. The process of obtaining a mortgage to purchase or refinance residential property doesn't have to be overwhelming. I'm Tanya Quarequio, the owner of Celebrity Mortgage and a licensed loan officer. Celebrity Mortgage has helped thousands of clients in Florida realize their dream of homeownership, and we can help you too. We know every family and individual is unique in their needs and requirements. As a mortgage brokerage business, we have access to hundreds of loan programs and thousands of lenders. We will help find the right program that works for you. Tanya Quarequio, NMLS 88836, Celebrity Mortgage, NMLS 206978, where everyone is treated like a star.
Did you know that having less than perfect credit can cost you upwards of $1 million in interest rates, fees, and other unnecessary charges over your lifetime? And did you know 80% of credit reports have errors causing lower credit scores? And did you know 43 million people have a credit score of 599 or less?
Less than perfect credit leaves you with little or no control. The Healthy Credit Gals can help. We are the Healthy Credit Gals. Let us show you how to create financial fitness and peace of mind. Tune in and let's talk credit on 1470 AM and 95.3 FM.
You've been listening to the Healthy Credit Gals inform you of how important good credit is and the stressful impact bad credit can have on your overall well-being. Visit our website at thehealthycreditgals.com and learn what options you have. Now, let's get back to the show.
And we're back, and we're just talking about entrepreneurship during our break, and what does it mean to be an entrepreneur and just have your own control of your time, your income, and your life, really. And, it takes a while to build that typically when you start out in any kind of new venture. There's a lot of people that just never go that route because they just don't know what to do. We're here to help you with that process, and just sharing with you our company, Entrepreneurs International, is all about, it's a group of entrepreneurs that actually help others understand what it takes to be an entrepreneur. And then you can take those skills once you develop them and apply them to whatever your business may be or your interest or passion may be. For us, our vehicle that we utilize is financial education services, something that's been needed for so many people and still is needed, just to get all of their finances in order. Getting healthy finances in order, whether it's your credit, getting your documentation, setting you up for life, your will, trust, power of attorney, all of those goodies come in one package with us.
Right.
So let's just talk more about the entrepreneurial. Even for you, Tanya, you had to make a decision to step into having your own company and all that that encompasses. What does entrepreneurship, what made you take that leap of faith? And were you in the corporate world before, or what were you doing before?
I was in the corporate world. I worked for a local corporation, a very well-known one, and an opportunity presented itself that I became a mortgage processor. That's my background, and I did it, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the process, and I was fortunate enough to work for someone who encouraged the entrepreneurial spirit in me. I went out and got my broker's license, and then I opened my own business. But it was a leap of faith, and it did take it took courage, and it took planning. It wasn't something that I did just overnight. I started learning my craft, like I said, as a mortgage processor. And from there, once I understood the process on that level, I was then able to get my licensing and open my own company. It was a leap of faith. It was something that was a little bit scary, I'll be honest, because, you are, writing that paycheck at the end of the week only if you make it.
Right.
And that's a blessing and a curse. But for me, it was the right business, the right time. And the best decision I have ever made. This is a business that I enjoy. I often tell people it's a smiles business, and they initially think I'm a dentist. But it's a smiles business because somebody's getting a check and somebody's getting a key, and everybody's happy.
Well, honestly, if you're not happy and you're not passionate about what you do, life is just too short to be miserable at a job. If that's what your situation is, maybe you should look at exploring what you're passionate about,
right.
What makes you happy, and how can you make that be your business?
Because the other thing we were discussing is the job market is not what the job market used to be.
Right.
I mean, people last 4 to 5 years max.
Yeah.
And you can get I'm sorry, Mr. Smith, today's going to be your last day. I mean, this is happening.
It happens all the
lot.
time.
I mean, companies are downsizing. People are going to automation. People are being replaced by machines. New technologies are coming on board, but people are losing their jobs that they've had for a long time. What do you do next? What's your game plan? And the only way to get fired if you're a solopreneur, an entrepreneur, is to technically stop. You've made the decision to quit. You've made the decision not to go further. And that's, it's a really beautiful place to be.
Well, it's taking control of your life, and it is taking control of, you are responsible now for your income. You are responsible for whatever service or whatever business that you take on.
Right.
And a lot of times you're responsible for other people that you employ. So it's not something for the followers in the world. It's something for, if you've ever thought about it and you need that extra push or maybe just some extra knowledge to make that decision. That's what we're all about, is just helping you understand the mindset you have to have, the determination. It really is like having a job, but you're setting all the rules. You have to make sure you're a good boss.
But I would say FES and Entrepreneurs International does give you the step-by-step ability to move forward in a pace that allows you to, if you are comfortable as a follower, to continue to be a follower. Walk this way. It's not, you're not reinventing the wheel. So I would say, yes, you can take a lead and you can kind of stay in step as well. And
it is a step-by-step process that you plug into,
right,
and then you learn it. But I think when you're at home by yourself, you have to make sure you're staying plugged into the system of what's laid out for you.
Right. You have to be self-motivated.
You have to be self-motivated because if you're not, you can actually not
But
make
you have
money.
to be self-motivated to get up and go to work every day as
This is
well.
true.
I mean, why are you going to a job that you just detest? Because you're getting a paycheck? I mean, there are better ways of getting a paycheck.
I think you have to go in with a plan, though. I mean,
Yes,
you have
absolutely.
to, write down have a plan, sit with a business coach, and really coming full circle back to you guys, have credit, because you may need a credit line. You may need to have your credit card expanded for the limit to float what you have to do in the beginning of a business. Most businesses fail the first 12 months, so you need to go in it with a plan and make sure your credit's healthy so that you can get the credit line and so forth that you need if you need to buy product or even just pay for a business space.
The great thing about EI is you can keep doing whatever it is you're doing and explore what it would be like to be an entrepreneur and see if it resonates with you.
Right.
See if it's something that you feel you could do this and it could be a sustainable way of life. And if not, then at least you know how to be an entrepreneur. And if you're passionate about something else other than finances, then you can take what you apply, and it applies to so much of your life anyway. Communication skills, mindset, all of the things that you need to have, whether you're having your own business or you're being a solopreneur, having your own business, or being an entrepreneur and just participating in a much bigger picture that you can work by yourself. You're never really by yourself, but you're working definitely for yourself. You have a lot of other people that support you.
Yeah. No, it's the best it's the best world to be in.
Best
So
way to learn. And I would say with Tanya, honestly, it's so obvious that you're passionate about what you do and you're passionate about your clients that I can't see you doing anything other than what you're doing. You definitely made the right choice, and I think that there's so many people that can utilize your services, and when they feel your genuine honesty in helping them get to what their goal is, not your goal. That's
Right.
what I think makes everybody successful, when you're helping others reach what they want to.
For sure. And, people
Reach.
come on, whether it's this radio show where they advertise or they tell people about themselves, they like to talk about the success stories because those are always the most fun and rewarding. But for me, telling somebody no is a very powerful thing. And we do it. If we can't work for you or what you want to do doesn't work for us, to be honest, we'll tell you no. And I think that's, I'm doing you a favor. I'm doing you a service. And it is because we're passionate about what we do. It is because while we're helping you get what you want, we also want to help you be successful at getting it and when you have it. So it is something that we're very passionate about. Everyone that works for me, we have our administrator, Melissa Mangin, is probably smarter than most brokers, to be honest. Alexandra Gonzalez, who works for us as well, is bilingual English and Spanish. She is an MBA. She's a very bright woman, MBA in finance. And so our team as a whole, that's our entire approach. Everybody knows everything that goes on with a file, so that if help needs to be given, if I'm not there, my team can help. If my team isn't available, I'm always available. As I gave out my cell phone before, 954-394-6464. Clients know that they can reach me at any given time.
And if they want to check you out on your website, you want to share that?
Well, Sameta Designs, Xavier Sameta is actually redesigning my website now because there's some compliance things that came out in 2018, but that will be up soon, and I will be more than happy to share that.
Okay.
So let's close up with a little bit more about entrepreneurship. What do you love about? I know you've been an entrepreneur, Gerald, in other businesses as well, and
I feel like it's my entire existence. And I mean, there's challenges. I mean, I owned an architectural design firm with my now ex-husband, but we're still really good friends, a whole nother story. But we at one point we probably had employed 12 people. I mean, and those people relied on us writing checks. It's a great place to be. You've got to be passionate. You're probably going to put more work and energy into that, but you are doing it for that passion of what you're doing. I mean, it's a love, it's a joy. That dissolved when the crisis of 2008, 9, 10 hit. The architectural business went belly up, and I landed in the insurance world, which is it's a service industry that...
Right.
My only thought was, I put my resume out there. It was the insurance companies that hit. It was it was like, well, it's 180 degrees from where I'm at now. I was in a very creative world to the insurance world.
Kind of like right brain, left brain, right?
I was 180 degrees, and I said, that must be where I need to go. And I did. And I realized at that point, I can make anything as creative as I want it to be. It was mine. I owned it. And I have created the nicest business. I only have great clients. And I as well. I mean, there are people that I get on the phone or I've met with them, and they are not the client for me. And to be able to walk away from a client is so powerful. Like, if they're mean, like I don't do well with mean people. I just don't. But I don't have to help you. But I usually, I give my best advice. But and now the credit repair, I've added that as a service. So no, it's a beautiful thing because it's ownership, and I'm in control of my destiny. And I think it's just such a powerful place to be.
I think making that decision to take more control of your life is something that a lot of people think about, but they never act on. So it's really interesting to me to always find out how our guests evolved into doing their own thing, and how we sharing our stories of how we made that leap of faith and what it's done and what the changes have
it's
made
growth.
in our lives.
You get to grow. And with that growth, we finished another hour. So Tanya.
Wow, it went fast. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for joining us. And make sure that you reach out to Tanya or reach out to us if you have any further questions. Until next week.
Have a great week.
Bye.
You've been listening to the Healthy Credit Gals with solutions on how to create financial fitness and peace of mind. Visit our website, thehealthycreditgals.com, or call us at 888-315-3182. See you next week. Same time, same place for more tips and info. Enjoy the weekend.